Hello friends, family, and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to another high-level best of 5 between Gumiho and Neeb. The last time I watched Gumiho play against Neeb, he opened up with, I want to say it was triple starport battle cruiser. Ended up being a pretty epic 24-25 minute game. This time, the opener is going to be pretty interesting as well, as we see this SCV making its way across the map. And this was a really fast SCV, so he wants to build it as close to his opponent's base as possible. Now there's a couple of options. You can build it here, you can build it here, you can even build it kind of behind. Okay, yeah, we saw the camera just now move over to this area, so I guess it's going to be somewhere in this general spot. Yeah, there we go. It's gonna start moving up this ramp, and we'll throw down the barracks very close to Neeb's natural base. Now this has a couple of perks, but it also has a couple of disadvantages, of course. If this gets scouted, first of all, you lose a lot of mining time on your SCV. And second of all, it's easy for Neeb to pull extra workers. This is not a very well hidden location if the TOS scouts for it. That's the case with most hidden locations. If you find someone in there, it's not really hidden anymore. But this one also gives a lot of surface area for probes to attack the SCV on. So if this gets spotted, I'm not saying the game ends, but it pretty much does end. So it's a very high risk, high reward type of play here out of Gumiho. Neeb is going to figure out that it indeed is a proxy. And oh, he's going to scout behind his mineral line, but he's not going to scout on the left side. Now, coming to the perks of this build here for Gumiho. First of all, the initial Why would he show the SCV? Why would he do that? Anyway, the initial Reaper is going to get him really quickly. And there's also the possibility of building a bunker behind the mineral line and just rallying Marines into that bunker, potentially damaging this Nexus in a big way. The Spylon is being built, well, close to safety. So we see the bunker indeed going down right now, right next to that Nexus. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful stuff. Reaper comes out, and indeed we do have a Marine as a follow-up. That's going to allow for quick tech here for Gumiho. Now, the thing with this type of proxy Rex as well, is if you get tricked by this as a Protoss, you feel so dumb for allowing it. Like, not just regular dumb, but so dumb. Because it's one of these places that you know you should scout every game, or this type of stuff will happen. But also, it's so easy to just kind of go like, is it really necessary? Like, is this the day I'm gonna get proxied there? It's a little bit similar to putting on the seatbelt, you know? It's like, you know you really should be putting on your seatbelt every single day, but the 3-minute drive to the shop, like, what is the chance? And then, you know, if it does happen, and you're not wearing the seatbelt, life's gonna get a lot worse for you. And that's also the case with this type of proxy. Like, life just gets a lot worse for you, because now you have like this crappy battery as well on the high ground. Look at this. What is this? This is hot garbage. Reaper's going to get in here. I'm not saying that this Nexus is going to end up dying, because there is still the possibility of a super battery. We're going to have a third Stalker coming out. We still have this Zealot as well. Ooh, decent-ish control on that SCV for now. Reaper's going to try to run away. Look at this. This looks so silly. Oh. Stalker will actually end up dying. SCV can still pop out to try and repair. Eventually this bunker, of course, is going to get taken out. We're going to get a salvage as well on top of it, as this Hellion made its way across the map, but never really achieved anything. Now, the real issue... Oh my god, there's a proxy starport. This is a proxy barracks into a proxy starport. The issue for Neeb isn't so much that his eco is awful in comparison to his opponent. The issue is that in order to not die, he had to chrono boost out, what, 3 Stalkers? Now he's getting a 4th Stalker as well. Had to build a battery. Couldn't mine from the natural for a long time. Like, he just has no tech, no money, and is now finally getting a Stargate. But the medevac is already out. Like, we're 4 minutes into the game, and Neeb doesn't even have his initial tech structure out. There's no battery in the main base either, and that means that these 3 Hellions have the potential to deal a lot of damage. And I love this follow-up here out of Gumiho, honestly. It's not going to get spotted either, just barely in the kind of the dead space, or the fog of war that was still in the base of Neeb. And now 4, 5, 6 workers are going to be taken out. This Hellion drop will make its way over in towards the natural as well. And Neeb, yeah, despite having a way faster Nexus, isn't actually that far up in workers. Usually at this point you want to be up like 5, 6 workers. You want to have some big tech coming out, some big tech units coming your way, but that's definitely not the case here. Instead what we're seeing is, well, probably a couple more workers going down at least. I can only imagine. Unless this actually gets boosted out. Okay, 2 Hellions will get to survive. Medevac obviously is going to die eventually. Just gonna get chased down here by this Phoenix. Barracks on the way home, starport on the way home as well. Command center finishes. So this was good for Gumiho, but it could have been better in my opinion. I mean, killing 9 workers. I think he initially got 2 or so with the Reaper. I feel like there was a little more potential there with those Hellions. Sometimes it feels like the Terran players want to keep their Hellions alive a little bit too much. It's of course a nice thought for the Hellions, but Hellions don't really have a function in the mid-game of this matchup. Like, you can still maybe do 1 mid-game run-by or something, try to get 3-4 workers, but I always feel like losing 3 Hellions, it doesn't really matter if you lose them or not. Like, it's not like they're gonna do anything else later on. So you much rather just sacrifice them, even if you're only gonna get like 1 or 2 more workers. It's just better. And every little worker in the early game matters a crap ton. Now, like I said, this is 4x? Wait, that's not what I said. Like I said, the main issue that Gumiho has here is that his barracks was far across the map. That means his marine production is rather low. So he's going to get a push out right now with 5 marines, 3 tanks, and a Viking. This is one of these weird tank-marine ratios that you hardly ever see. I don't think this is enough Phoenixes, is it? I don't think it is. As we see Gumiho starting to work on these rocks right now. I mean, I don't actually think he can be on the map, can he? He's gonna continue on the map. This is somewhat scary. There's 5 Stalkers out. We have a bunch of Phoenixes. Phoenixes could definitely stop the reinforcements from joining up here. Stalkers will... Like, if Stalkers take out 2-3 Marines at this point, there's not enough anti-air to deal with the Phoenixes. Gumiho is aware of how many Phoenixes there are as well, so that makes it slightly weirder, in my opinion, the fact that he's doing this. He's gonna try to chase one of these Phoenixes back home. We have a little bit of a Marine army in this area as well. I think the Phoenixes can almost engage into this. There we go. Picks up 1, picks up 2 Marines. Will kill 4, perhaps even 5. 5 Marines go down. And the only thing that these Phoenixes get is a bit of damage, which does end up sucking because he flies over this Marine Viking army once more. One Phoenix for 5 Marines though. Still probably a trade that Neeb is going to be quite happy with. If you could trade every single one of these Phoenixes out for 5 Marines, I think he'd be pretty fine with that. Of course, the energy, because of that last trade, is a little bit lower than he ideally has it, or he ideally wants it. Salad Runby is going to pick up some of these reinforcements. This is very all-in. This is an actual SCV pool. A proxy Rex into a proxy starport into a tank SCV push with just a single medevac. Big stim in. 4 tanks can siege up on top of this ramp right now. I don't quite think that there's enough damage output. Instead, we see these Phoenixes just lift every single tank, but he can't kill them right now. Super Battery is, well, for now just staying alive. Phoenix is once again coming in from the back. The Marines are actually running rather low. It feels like perhaps Neeb might actually be holding here. At the same time, we have these Zealots moving across the map, dealing a lot of damage over here. Phoenixes, well, they're about to fall right now, but so does the medevac. One more big warp in of Zealots, and it feels like Neeb has actually held. He can still recall those bad boys as well for some added defense. Neeb's actually going to hold in kind of a miraculous way. I'm really impressed by this hold. Holy crap. It felt like the early game really didn't go his way. He had an okay trade with the Phoenixes against the Marines. This hold was fantastic. All built out of Gumiho though. Single medevac. SCV Marine. Also felt like he didn't really hit the peak of his Marine production yet. Like, he had so many barracks, but he only had 1 or 2 cycles from them. It's of course easy to say in hindsight. Because if he's playing against someone that's getting Colossi, then all of a sudden you want to push as fast as you can. But he wasn't playing against someone that was building Colossi. No, he was playing against Neeb, who was building charge lots. Against charge lots, maybe you want to wait a little longer. Higher tank count, more Marines. 1 or 2 extra medevacs could have definitely been helpful. We're once again going in for an SCV pool. 44 army supply for Gumiho against 60 of Neeb. But these type of tricks work a lot better the first time you hit with them. It's like a magician doing the same trick twice. Like, it might still work, but if it didn't work the first time, there's absolutely no chance that it's going to work a second time on you. Unless you're really slow in the head. Guardian Shield does get popped. Charge Lot coming in for a surround. The damage output of these Marines is fantastic though. 45 supply against 40 when it comes to the army supply. Phoenix is actually getting targeted down as well, but the Guardian Shield putting in so much work. Zealots without upgrades absolutely ripping through this Marine tank ball. And I think Neeb has done it. Still a couple of Marines alive, and this medevac is helping out as well. Probes are going to get pulled off the line. Phoenix is being micro. There's still a battery in the far back as well. Like, even if 20 workers go down here, at the end of the day, I just don't think that Gumiho has enough production to sustain any type of pushing power. GG gets called as Neeb takes game number 1 in this best of 5. Alright, here we are in our second game between Neeb and Gumiho. That first game was a certified banger. I'm just gonna call it how it is. Alright. 2 SCV pools, a proxied barracks, a proxy starport, a Hellion drop, and in the end the Protoss player winning. This is the type of stuff that we love to see. This absolutely is it. This is an odd opener here. It looked to be like a pretty late gas. That means we're gonna be seeing, okay, this is the Gumiho special. Now for the people, well, basically every build that Gumiho does is a Gumiho special, but this one specifically, this actual build order was invented by Gumiho. Usually Gumiho, he opens like with a standard one Rex command center or something along those lines, and then follows it up with some Gumiho special. But this entire build order is the Gumiho special. So what he does is he takes a later gas, which delays his gas, but gives him slightly more minerals. Then he gets a command center that is about 10 to 12 seconds earlier than usual. He gets 1 extra SCV, so he has continuous SCV production, and he can get the orbital, just 1 SCV later. So his first mule is delayed, but his mule from the natural is going to be faster. And also, I think he has probably slightly better mineral eco in general, because he starts building an SCV quicker from the natural. I think in the end you're going to be up about an entire SCV with this build order. However, you have less gas at the start, which means that teching can be quite tricky. Now, he's figured something out. He says, you know what I can do? I can just open up with a Marauder Rush, which is not a build order that we've seen, honestly, since 2012 or something. Well, that's not true. We've seen some of it in, with a factory follow-up. Beyond played this for a little bit. He'd play like a Marine double Marauder type of rush and try his best there. This Marauder doesn't have concussive shells yet. So this adept is like, whoo! Managed to escape real good over there. Now, he's still going to end up dying, I think, because now concussive shell is done. We have this Marauder shooting at this adept. The second adept is also going to get caught here. Gumiho, an absolute tear. It's going to be taking out 1 adept, and the Marine stays alive as well at the same time. This is just beautiful StarCraft 2, my friends. Good control here out of Gumiho. This build order definitely is working out so far. We have 2 more Marauders that are going to be joining this. I'm not even quite sure if we can consider this a move out. This is like a scouting expedition, you know? Like the one guy you send into the jungle to make sure there's no dangerous animals there. If he doesn't come back, then no one else goes. He's like, oh guys, there's dangerous animals. I died, and where's these 2 Marauders just returned back home? Like, guys, he's dangerous. No, he's gonna go for it. Actually, he's gonna catch the first Stalker as well. Somewhat impressive. Will be capable of taking out... Ooh, this adept. Good control out of Gumiho. Look at this. No way. He's gonna get both. Loses the Marauder in the end. Is going to continue attacking. This looks weird, but the only reason it looks weird is because we know there was another Stalker coming out. In general, this would have been a perfect call, because who builds freaking 5 gateway units before Warp Gate is done, or 4 gateway units before Warp Gate is done? It is a very rare sight. Protoss players don't usually do this, so I completely understand why he moved out with that final Marauder. He wanted to get like 2-3 extra worker kills. At the same time, Gumiho's, look at that worker count, 38. A Terran that is up in workers. That is something that I haven't seen in 3 years. And it's happening right here in this game. The follow-up for Neeb is going to be 4-gate blink, but by the time that attack is going to hit, there's also going to be a mine drop follow-up. Oh no, Stim is going to be done as well. We'll get combat shields on the way. Like, Stim will legit be done by the time this is going to hit. Medevac does get spotted. Kind of a big deal. Wait, is blink already done? It is actually. If you can get that, it would be huge. That's huge. That actually is huge. It's still not a good situation though here for Neeb. I have to say it. Oop, saves the SCV. Good control. Gumiho's control is very, very powerful, honestly. This build also, I kind of like the way that this build looks. A little bit stupid, but, you know, right up my alley. First tank is out as well. Gumiho can smell the future. He knows that this opponent was going to go for 4-gate blink as well after this. Look at this. Pop, 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 pop. Poof! 1. Almost gets the second shot. Can't really blink into this either. Natural is rather exposed at this point. Oh my god, Neeb fell asleep in front of the wheel. That is not good. Crashed the car. Prism is gone. 4 Stalkers dead as well. See a big stim coming out right now. Concussive is already here. So one more shot and that Stalker is going to end up dying. Oh, there we go. Dark Shrine halfway done. New Prism is on the way, but third base hasn't even started yet. Honestly, I believe that this game is kind of over. Third CC is halfway done as well here for Gumiho. So Gumiho has a similar eco right now. Has a faster third base. Is going to get quicker upgrades. Better infrastructure. The only thing that Gumiho doesn't have is a medevac. Because it just died to this blink in. And at the same time, a couple of Stalkers will end up dying. Stalkers do actually trade with the Marines. This is not just straight up Stalkers dying. Overall, resources lost 2400, resources lost on the side of Neeb against 1575 on the side of Gumiho. Of course, that Prism playing a big role there in that in those initial numbers. Prism very expensive. Stalkers also pretty resource intense. So, yeah. 4 DTs being warped in, 2 moving in towards the natural. Do we have any scans available right now? Oh, there's none. Look at this response out of Gumiho. Uh-oh. That's the first SCVs dying. Okay, there's 1 scan available in the third base. That means that 2 DTs will end up falling already. Gonna need more scans though. Okay, another scan is available in the natural base. We have another warp in. Okay, 3 more DTs. Oh, this is kind of sick actually. Turret is going to finish in the natural, so that should be somewhat safe. SCV pool could perhaps kill that. 14, 15, 16. Do we get 17? Can we get 17? Yes, we can get 17. 17 workers have gone down in this entire sequence of DT warp-ins and other crap. And we could perhaps get another DT warp in here and try and get it in towards the main base. This command center took a bit of a beating. Don't forget that defensively this map is very good for Protoss. You can just kind of defend your natural and be fine. There's also a lot of chrono boost energy still available. DT went indeed in towards the main base, but did not really end up doing very much. Might have killed like half a worker. How are workers still dying? Another one went down. Woohoo. What you doing, buddy? Might want to pick up that DT actually, rather than just leave it behind. Well, DT is actually going to end up falling. And right now we're in this weird situation where Gumiho has better upgrades, better infrastructure, and temporarily still a better army as well. But the tech for Neeb is looking good. He's getting into thermal lens, getting into Colossi, and is adding a lot of gateways. His eco also looks fantastic. I mean, he has 60 workers, still has a Prism alive, and charge is about halfway done. Which means that with charge halfway done, the moment charge finishes, you have a good ability to counterattack with the Prism, a couple of charge lots. Gumiho, ooh, only a single tank, but is adding Liberators right now. And an armory. Okay, that is odd. That is very odd. The Liberator is one of these units that performs very well with heavy tank pushes and usually is meant as an all-in type of unit. So you push with tanks, you kind of choke your opponent out with like tank lip and slowly but surely push forward. You hope there's no major splash damage, like no storm or disruptors that can slow down your push too much. And then eventually you kill the TOS player. The problem though for Gumiho is that he's also going into a macro game. So then the Liberators, are they just for defense? Or maybe Gumiho believes that he's about to be attacked or something. I'm not entirely sure about this entire thing. I think Gumiho sees that DT, right? Yeah, I think he saw it. He definitely did. DT gets taken out there by a single scan. 4 Zealots with a Prism make their way in towards the main base. 2 Lips are out and could definitely start chasing that Prism. Maybe he doesn't want to risk it. Triple Ghost also coming out, ship weapons on the way. We have a 4th command center being constructed right now. This feels like Gumiho wants to take this to a late game. But can he really take this to a late game? I'm not sure if he can. Would love to see a second eBay. That's the one thing that I really do like. It's just a second eBay being thrown down at this point. Can get 2-2 upgrades, and maybe do something of like a 2-2 timing. It seems obvious that there's not going to be a 1-1 timing, or if there is, it's probably not going to end up working. It's of course hard for Gumiho to know what his actual position is. In his mind, he lost a lot of workers, and he didn't quite understand how far ahead he was before that. So he actually was still in somewhat of a playable position, aggressively, right after he lost that many workers. He didn't move across the map and just straight went into turtle mode. I think he's going to be somewhat surprised to see what the army of Neeb looks like. I think he's expecting way more Archons with this, a more teched up army basically. But this is, I mean, this is not a super high value Protoss army. This is very similar to what the Terran has. Protoss with map control is pretty scary though. So we see the Zealots, whoop, getting hit by a mine. This hallucination is going to be moving in. This is a very optimistic move here with this command center. It's the type of move that can cost you a command center or allows you to basically land the command center 5 seconds earlier than usual. It's going to be the second thing. Big disruptor hits, going to connect with that bio army. As a disruptor will be blasted as well. Good trade for Neeb though. Doesn't quite have the stalkers in position to completely chase this army or to take out some of these medevacts. Might get one actually. One more blink available. Yep, there we go. Get one of the medevacts, and at the same time, I think Gumiho should be moving towards the left side. Problem is that there are no medevacts whatsoever. If you can split your army up in 2 pieces, into 2 parts, usually you're going to be fine as a Terran player, but because there's no medevacts whatsoever, and this actually looks kind of bad for Gumiho, he can't really force this major army back home. The only thing that he can do is, well, sit at home, defend, while the triple medevac drop, which only 2 of them are filled, is going to head in towards a main base. Neeb is kind of unaware of this though. They're gonna try to unload? I'm not so sure. I don't actually know what Gumiho's plans are here. He's just gonna go back into the corner and send them back home immediately. 2 more medevacts are on the way, and that would finally allow some of these bio units to move towards the left side. Oh, we already see an army moving towards the left side. Please boost the medevacts there. They really do need some support of medevacts. Single pro patrolling on the left side. Big bust here coming out of Neeb though, into a couple of Liberators. Tank in the far back as well. Now we still have these triple drops heading in, not really being controlled, which means that the cannons will have an absolute field day. This army is going to get, well, semi-cleaned up, I would call it. Turret will almost take care of that Colossi. A couple of Marauders are just idling right now. This army is dealing some big damage as we have a single DT being warped in. Once again, no medevacs here means that they're going to absolutely get sliced and diced. Can we get an EMP on this DT? No, we're just going to get a scan instead. While at the same time, Neeb is just kind of owning here in the natural, taking out 30 workers. These bad boys are being taken out as well. A little bit sloppy in the control there out of Gumiho. He had a setup going where he was going to fight at 2-3 parts at the same time, but then Neeb attacked him first and kind of ruined his plans. Gumiho had to start paying attention to his defense at home, and that kind of led him to lose, well, a full medevac, an empty medevac, also a lot of units over here to a single DT. Did end up cleaning 1 base, but this game could have perhaps looked different had Gumiho hit 3 to 4 seconds earlier, because then Neeb is the one that's looking at different things than the main army, and it becomes very difficult to kind of micro this army while you're being destroyed at home. So just unfortunate timing there for Gumiho when it comes to you know, the attention as a resource. Felt like Neeb definitely got the upper hand there. It's way easier to be the one setting things up and then knowing where to micro than to be on the receiving end of like a multi-prong aggression, of course. It's always so much harder to respond to that, because you never know where it's going to start. Okay, well, here we go. We get another stim in. 93 army supply against 63. It is 2-1 upgrades against 1-1, but disruptor shots coming in as well. Final Colossus is going to get taken out. I think this is pretty much game over, though. Here we go. Neeb, yeah, Neeb has just pretty much won this game. 72 workers against 46. It's like freaking 8 or 9 disruptors out on the map right now. This command center is going to get taken out. A couple of zealots. I always love to send them in towards it. Wait, there's a bunker in the back base. And he's paranoid. I guess it was like some prism flying in there being real annoying. Yeah, this game is fairly over right now. The only person that isn't aware of that yet is Gumiho, I guess. Doesn't know that there's at least 4 bases. And Gumiho still has some mining going on as well, I guess, on this one. But yeah, this really is just completely over. That's okay. He can think about the build for the next game. So far, honestly, his build orders have not been bad. It's just been the follow-ups and the control in the mid game. Like, it feels like he lost the pacing of the game every single time. First game he tried to finish it with an all-in, and in this game it felt like he didn't completely understand his position and took an infinite amount of damage against those massive DT drops. GG gets called as Neeb takes the 2-0 lead. And the third game here between Neeb and Gumiho. It's played on Tropical Sacrifice. Yeah, Gumiho in a little bit of trouble. Honestly, not really due to his openers, like I said before. I feel like his openers are quite okay. They're different than most normal openers, but they tend to work out. And when he starts kind of transitioning into a standard mid game, that's when things really start going wrong. Ooh, look at this. Neeb opening up with a gas first. That's very exciting. At least if you watch StarCraft 24/7 like I do. Gas first is something that is played when players no scout Nexus before core. And it allows you to get a little bit more gas at the huge risk of dying to any proxy that ever existed. Which is kind of a wild play out of Neeb, honestly. If you're playing against someone like Gumiho, opening like this is basically forfeiting half of your game, saying, okay, you win, because Gumiho just proxies a crap ton. So for Neeb to pull this out, well, in the third game, I guess, kind of makes sense. He's up 2-0. You can afford a very big risk at this point as well. So I really, yeah, I actually do kind of like this strategy choice. It's going to work out, because he's going to get that very fast Nexus here. He's going to get a lot of gas, most likely follow this up with a Stargate. It's the most common follow-up, at least from what I know. And Gumiho here is opening up with a double gas opener, so it's going to be an aggressive build order out of Gumiho, but it's not proxied. And that's the only thing that matters for Neeb's early defense, is that whatever aggression is coming, it can't be proxied, because you're delaying your initial adapt by a little bit. By taking that fast gas, by delaying your cybernetic score, your initial gate unit that comes out will just be very late. And that means that a Reaper that would be proxied over here, or even a proxy 2-Rex with a bunch of Marines, could just straight up kill you. It's not going to be the case here. We see Gumiho already pulling out of gas a little bit, so it's not going to be super dedicated one base aggression. We will see one base aggression, but there's going to be a command center as well here coming out of Gumiho. We actually see that first Reaper scouting around, and the follow-up is going to be a reactor. Neeb still... Ooh, okay. Wait, what is that then? I was gonna say he's gonna proxy a Stargate, but he already is building a Stargate at home. So it can't be a proxy Stargate. It is literally impossible. He also got a very fast warp gate, which is uncommon when you open up with a quick Stargate. So this makes me believe it's going to be something like a 3-gate Oracle type of build. And this is the type of build order that we never see, because it doesn't really work. But maybe Neeb knows something that I don't. Maybe he has some insider info when it comes to... Oh, the way that Gumiho plays! That Adept getting way too many hits there. Now the Shade is going to try and chase the Reaper, but barely misses it. Reaper manages to dodge it. Reaper hasn't quite spotted the Stargate yet in the main base. Probably isn't going to. Yeah, we're going to see a proxied gateway here. You might see another gateway coming down soon as well, to really go for that triple gateway pressure. Yeah, there we go. It's going to be double Oracle, I guess, or maybe even triple Oracle. Eesh. Neeb finishing that Shade sucks. He's going to lose the Adept because of that. Third Adept is on the way. And the first Oracle is on its way out as well. I mean, eco-wise, Neeb is going to be feeling like a king. But unit-wise, not so much. There's going to be 2 Adepts out by the time this hits. An Oracle as well, though. Oracle can actually kill a Cyclone if you micro it very well. And get that first hit off fast. Oop, these 2 units barely don't miss one another. I'm not quite sure if Neeb also spotted it, but Gumiho definitely spotted this unit. So we have a little bit of a move out coming out. He's going to hide the tank. Look at that. Cute move. Actually, he's going to hide the tank. Neeb doesn't want to go in with that Oracle. Now might end up losing that as a result here. Uh-oh, Neeb, you can't fly in there either. Yep, that is a dead Oracle. Cyclone takes out the Oracle. That means that this pressure also is going to suck massively. Second Oracle is on the way out. I think that Neeb might just decide to go home at this point. I think that would be the correct call, at least, going home. Cyclone's going to find these 3 Adepts, and then Oracle flies across the map. Is going to spot this as well. Cyclone will get picked up and survives. Tank is going to get dropped. Having 3 gates is really nice defensively against this as well, honestly. Tank popping out at the right time. It feels like everything is just going correct here for Gumiho. This early game has been absolutely fantastic. Like, despite his not the greatest build order, basically build order matchup that he could have gotten, he still is doing fantastic here, because his early game has just been, his control of the units has been good. He's gotten a little bit fortunate as well. Tank is going to get picked up, some nice tank micro. Look at that. 3 HP remaining on that tank, and there's an SCV as well. It's going to get at least 1 shot. It's going to get a 2nd shot in. Tank still doesn't die. He's going to get it. Oh my god, are you joking? This tank just isn't dying. 3 HP on that tank is going to absolutely change the outcome of this game, or at least change the outcome of this fight. This should have been blasted down by the battery and the 4 stalkers, but this tank staying alive with like half an HP. Ooh, once again is going to stay alive, man. This SCV is the true MVP here. This tank should have gotten 0 kills. Right now it has 9. Unbelievable. Actually unbelievable. Viking as well with 9 HP could get repaired afterwards by this SCV. Man, this SCV has a long day ahead of him. It's all in a day's work. Void Ray being constructed. I have a feeling that Neeb might actually just end up dying here. 3rd tank is going to set up as well. And that means, yeah, GG. Wow. Gumiho. I don't wanna go back here. I actually wonder too how low it went. I saw it go down to 3. But then it gets repaired. And the Stalker gets another shot on it. So over here. Okay, 2. It hit 2 HP. Then he tries to go in again. But he gets shot literally a millisecond before he's gonna hit it again. If Neeb breaks this tank, he can just fight these Marines no problem, right? You're working off like 3-4 Stalkers. Huge. Absolutely huge. Very close game here. This could be the turnaround as Gumiho takes game number 3 and we'll be heading into the 4th. After that last game on Tropical Sacrifice, we're now over here on Inside and Out. As we see... Hey, is that a stone? Never seen these stones before. Whenever you turn on the graphics a little bit in StarCraft 2, all of a sudden you see these new things that usually aren't there. It's pretty wild. You just have a bunch of stones scattered around the map. This is the worst garden I've seen in my life. There's no plants. There's a freaking fire burning. Then you put some stones down. What even is this? I'm not quite sure who made this, but I'm not gonna let him design my garden, that's for sure. It looks terrible. What are these plants as well? Which idiot put these over here? There's some random flowers. But this entire place looks extremely ugly. Anyway, Gumiho opening up with... Ooh, is this the same build that I was talking about earlier? Is this the Gumiho special? Except this time it's going to be with a 3 Marine opener. And then you just get a fast factory with it. And you follow it up with a gas. So you delay your reactor, have a fast command center. I kind of like this build as well. I really do. I'm not entirely sure what the advantages and disadvantages are. It feels like it might be weak against a lot of things, but your CC is super fast, which is cool. Your factory is kind of fast. You have 3 Marines in the early game. You're not scouting, which means that you probably have a little more money than usual. You can just get a bunker with the extra money that you have. Seems cool. Seems kind of cool, at least. Factories at a relatively standard timing as well. So I guess you're lacking a couple of Marines, but you have an extra SCV. I think that's okay. Hallion's gonna be popped out there. I think the factory actually is slightly faster than it usually would be. By like 2 seconds or so. It's like gonna be a very, very small difference. Bunker finishes up, and Neeb is going to scout everything going on here right now. You have a reactor over there. Anything else I need to be made aware of? And Gumiho's like, no, it's actually all good. Gumiho's stopping his worker production for some reason. That seems fairly odd. That's the entire advantage. And now he starts it again. He is floating 200 all the way through. Maybe he just didn't care very much. He's gonna brush out either a Raven or a Banshee here. But he's so fast, I feel like it's a Banshee. Of course it's a Raven. Very nice. It's very rare to see such a quick Raven. Usually you don't swap these two. You just build a tech lab on the starboard in that case. But it's allowed. I mean, it's not an illegal play by any means. It's definitely allowed. Prism coming out. Oh, is this a disruptor drop? Yeah, it is. This is one of these builds that Neeb sometimes pulls out, and Terrans forget that it exists. Honestly, I forget that it exists majority of the time as well. They're like, oh right, Disruptor drop, that's also something that technically you can do. It's just really unpopular. And the reason why it's so unpopular is because you're investing so much money into your early game that you don't have any units to defend anything. So if your opponent opens up with like a 4 Hellion drop, you literally just lose the game, like it ends. Against most mine drops, you're actually in a little bit of trouble as well. But if your opponent doesn't do anything of the sort, if they open 3 racks especially, God, is the game good for you. They open a triple CC opener, the game also is fairly good for you. Here we'll see how it will do against any type of Raven opener, which is a rather passive opener. He's actually gonna wait for 2 Disruptors, holy crap. I think the natural is going to be the playground here for Neeb, no? He has some vision there at least. There's no tank in there. There's no units there either. I think Neeb is aware of that. You have the Hellion spotting that third base timing. Colossi is being built right now behind this. Okay, I'm guessing this is going to kill 7 workers right now. Let's take a look at the first person splits. Actually, let's not do that. Did I say 7 or 6? I think I said 7. But internally I said 6. So I'll count this as a win. Can't believe I predicted 6 there. Such a good call. This observer is gonna change location. It changed from seeing something to absolutely nothing. It's the type of change that I would like to have in my life. From being a little bit useful to being completely useless. We heard some balls explode. Don't think it really killed anything. Maybe even half a worker. No, didn't actually get anything. So out of the 4 shots, 6 kills. Man, it's not terrible, but it's not great either. Let's face it. This observer is going to a different position to make itself even more useless. It's beautiful to see. Maybe it's like a demonstration in uselessness, you know? So this one is useless. This one is also useless. If we put it in observer mode over here, it's also useless. You can put it in the far left corner, it would be completely useless. The very bottom right, completely useless. Useful positions would be where you would see anything, but this is useless. And what is he planning on spotting with this? Maybe he just wants to see the grass from up close or something like that. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, these 2 Disruptors are going to continue getting single kills here, as Gumiho knows how to split his army. Gets a double medevac drop into a weird... What is this? Oh no. Oh no. I'm not sure what this is, but it feels scary for both players. If you're on the map with 2 Colossus, and there's a Raven with enough energy for double interference matrices, yeah, that's pretty darn scary. This also is just a pure marine army, basically, that just stimmed for nothing. This drop's going to hit the main base. Thermal lens about to finish up. We have a Templar Archives. Do we have any Templar, though? That always is kind of an important thing as well. I think the answer to that is a big fat no so far. Drop gets cleaned up, or at least pushed away. It doesn't really get cleaned up. So just pushed away. We have an interference matrix here. Isn't going to use it. So then we just have a Raven there, not an interference matrix. Templar Archive is going to get sniped, but I think the Colossi should have been sniped there. Good force field out of Neeb, holy crap. Zealot's actually getting some surface area on all of those units. Colossi is going to stay alive. 125 supply against 103. Zealot drop in the main base dealing some big damage. 7, 8, 9, 10 workers being taken out. I don't think these SCVs should be fighting right now. You can just hold position them and this would have been okay. As a result here, Gumiho just loses, honestly, majority of his eco. He did have a third base almost done. Neeb is going to push across the map. Might accidentally win the game here. Happens to the best. It's an accidental game win. 24 workers being taken out. Yeah, Gumiho is dead. Gumiho actually just died here. Hop, no chance. Nice play out of Neeb. Really felt like Gumiho, after throwing that interference matrix, rather than targeting down the Templar Archives, should have just focused on killing the 1 Colossi that was right next to him. Or killing the gate units there. It felt like that was a wasted interference. These situations are always very tight, and this time Gumiho came out on the wrong end. And Neeb wins the series, 3-1. Nice. Plays very well. Different build orders, basically every single game as well. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. This mid game is so powerful. Very impressive play out of the American. That's gonna be it for me today. Thanks for watching. I hope you did enjoy this. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you, and bye-bye.